Hello and welcome. This is Gist Nigeria. Coming up, forgotten communities. People living with leprosy in Nigeria share grim stories of marginalization as we burst myths around the disease. Also, understanding vitiligo. We'll hear firsthand from Albert Solomon, who's embracing his new skin. And child labor. Scheme offers out-of-school Ethiopian kids a second chance at learning. Plus,
my name is Mary Guveren Igbazwa. Check me out.
The innovator leading efforts to rebuild insurgency reading Northeast Nigeria. It's great to have you join us here again on Gist Nigeria from the BBC and Channels Television. And here on the program, we look at stories making the rounds on social media. I am Wali Fakile. Let's start with our top story. For people living with leprosy in Nigeria, it isn't unusual to hear statements like, "She can't live here," or "He must be banished." They are usually marginalized in every sphere of society, and they live in about 64 abandoned settlements across the country. But is leprosy as contagious as believed? And why is Nigeria still recording more than 1,000 cases annually? Just Nigeria's Vivian Oguche has been finding out.
From a distance, this looks like a dump site, but it isn't. Located in Alabarago or Joloku government area of Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital, this community is home to some people living with leprosy. Omar Abdullahi emigrated here from Kano State, northwest Nigeria in 1986. That was 36 years ago. He tells me that he was once a teacher until he was handed the short end of the stick. The 60-year-old looks like any man his age, until you take a closer look.
How can I walk labor now? I am not with enough nerves. My nerves cannot be able to walk. So like me, we are plenty here that we cannot use ourselves work hard to get. That is why we have been dependent on being a beggars for side of road. I'm feeling very shy. I'm feeling very shy.
Umar says most children in the community do not have access to education as he did.
They pick regular those pieces of iron for ground that they will just carry, go sell before they feed themselves. And some can depend on just repairing phones. They can repair phones. That one will go for that one that study engineering. They can repair phones. They can repair torchlights. We put hope that if they are sponsored to further their education, they can become doctors. Some can become lawyers. Some can even become lecturers.
He also decries conditions here with everyone living in shanties, begging for alms and relying on gifts from people and non-governmental organizations for survival.
If you travel, let's say, inside ancient Europe, you cannot see people like us while they have them. They are carved inside their houses, so they will build some storage building for them, teach them different handworks, so that they can depend on themselves.
International human rights law provides for the right to an adequate standard of living for all persons. And under that right to an adequate standard of living, housing is an essential component. And I say for all persons. When I say all persons, not for certain kinds of persons, not for persons within a particular socioeconomic bracket, not for persons of means. It means all persons.
If possible, we have our own personal hospital or clinic or health center That was my former school with 2 classes. We hope that government or any person that feels they are rich, they can come and assist us rebuild our school back.
The theme for this year's World Leprosy Day is United for Dignity, with a focus on mental well-being as well as freedom from disease-related stigma. Psychiatrist Yinka Jibono provides some insight.
Aside from the fact that the society stigmatizes them, they also stigmatize themselves, yes. Because there are places they will want to go, but they won't go there because they will feel like, oh, if I go there, people might reject me, and they would naturally not want to do certain things that they should do. That's self-stigma, you know. So for them, they might be in a helpless situation, and that's where society comes in. That's where we come in as advocates for them. We advocate for them, we raise awareness for them, we enlighten people about the illness and the fact that there's now a cure for the illness, and they can now come back, they can be well and come back into the society. We advocate for policy change. You know, we take it to policymakers, we ask for funding for this illness, funding for eradication, funding for medications, funding for them to be brought back into society.
International Christian Development Organization Leprosy Mission Nigeria says at least 3,500 leprosy cases are reported yearly, making Nigeria one of few countries that still records more than 1,000 cases annually.
By 1998, Nigeria had achieved the target of elimination of less than 1 case per 10,000 population. However, there is still transmission at subnational levels. So we have this smoldering transmission because active case finding for these cases had nosedived, and support also for leprosy control activities had also nosedived. So whereas on the national scale we had achieved the elimination target, but there is ongoing transmission in the community.
There are cultural and religious myths surrounding leprosy and people living with the disease in Nigeria. Let's hear what the experts think.
It's a capital no, at least from the point of medical science. We need to know that in those old age times, anything that is a rash on the body is taken, anything that is abnormal is taken to be a punishment from God.
As much as 208,000 cases of leprosy is still ongoing in the world. We're picking it, and then majority of them in Asia and Africa. In fact, the National Tuberculosis Control Program is called National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control Program. They're still there, people are still having the leprosy, and they're transmitting it. It is not true. Leprosy can be treated. It is caused by a germ called Mycobacterial leprae. There are drugs, clear-cut drugs, which you can take for 6 to 1 year, 6 months to 1 year, and the person will be cured.
Like in Thailand, since 1970, they have faced that task of seeing how they could accommodate them into the cities, how they could reduce the stigmatization, and with continuous programs, assessments of measures and everything, they were able to achieve a good percentage of success.
Constant and continuous exposure to someone that is infected, particularly with skin lesions, you can also, an individual also stand the risk of picking up that infection.
People living with leprosy usually stay with family members who may not be afflicted with the disease, and this serves as an emotional anchor for them. But survivors like Umar say being accepted by the larger society will be a dream come true. Vivian Oguche, Gist Nigeria.
Informative. Let's embrace members of this community. Join this conversation on Twitter. Tweet us at Gist Nigeria TV. Would like to hear from you.